7:44, approaching 7:45 here on this Friday morning wake-up call. It's time for Friday with the Fuzz, so I'll toss it right over to Mr. Michael Greene.
Thank you, Derek. In the studio with us today is Elgin's Chief of Police, Jeff Swoboda. Welcome. Thank you for coming in again.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Busy week last week.
It was a very busy week last week, yeah.
Couple things that kind of tie up from the week before as well that kind of happened very close to the time of the show and we didn't have a lot of information for, so we'll try to get that out to everyone as well. But first thing was first, we had a shooting this past Tuesday night. The man was taken, I know, to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, and I think the next day, and it may have escaped me even, evidently released that he passed away.
Yes.
Yep. Can you talk a little about this? This was 10 p.m. Tuesday night, area of Sherman and St. Charles. Is there much known here? Are you guys still investigating suspects in custody? What's going on?
Yeah, still a lot going on with this. I know our investigators, our gang detectives are working with our Major Investigations Division, and they're continuing to get witnesses as best they can and work the case. But backing up, Tuesday night, I think it was right around 10 o'clock or so, got a call over on the east side of a shots fired, the subject hit by the shots. Ultimately, officers arrive, victims transported to the hospital, later dies. On these type of cases, from the time we get there, obviously, until, continuing till to current time, detectives continue to follow up. And it's following up on anything and everything. We do get some tips in through, actually we've solved some major crimes based on the tips. So many ways, from texting tips to phone tips to, we have Facebook, Twitter, all kinds of ways you can get in touch with the police department. But our detectives, I know there was the briefing yesterday where we're still continuing figuring out who talked to who, what technology is in the area, from anything from cameras to, as you know, in the city we have some license plate readers, and suspects in the phone are in the neighborhood. Facebook is always something that we go, where was social media? So we're looking at a lot of these things, but we do not have an arrest, we do not have a subject in custody, and our detectives are continuing to work through it. So anybody that might have a little piece of information or know of something that was going on, or any type of conflict that's been going on with the victim and anyone, we're asking them to contact the police department.
You've, through the press release, given the Gang Investigation Division telephone number of 847-289-2646. There's also the anonymous tip line, 847-695-4195, and you can text 847-411, Elgin PD at the start, and then any information that you want to get to that, Elgin PD will get it routed then to you guys, right?
Yeah, and they move them forward. In fact, I just saw one that came in the other day, and so people are sending in. Sometimes it's nothing, and we've talked how you may think there was absolutely nothing to this. I saw some stranger walking down my street 4 hours before, so there's no way that that's related because it was 4 hours before. Well, just let us know what that is, and we'll be the ones to determine whether or not it was anything. And so again, we're just one of those things that it does take the community.
So I've car multiple times throughout the neighborhood for that that whole day coming through, and I've never seen that car before, and I haven't seen it since. Mm-hmm. Could be something. Yeah, who knows, right?
And we don't always, obviously, if there's a something, whenever their crime occurs, when the first thing the community wants to know, okay, so is that something I need to be worried about? Is this me? And so when we have information that that something has occurred and the community is in danger, and so we have to get out. We get out as much information as we can. When we have a specific case and one person shot, and because we don't know all the facts, obviously, until we get to the end of this, right? And so now we're at a point where we give out information as we can. What's most important now that the incident has occurred and the victim has passed away, now it moves to making sure we catch the person. And so we'll give out information. Many people want information. That's one of the struggles that we have in the police department, especially in this social media age. People want information. They want information now. They want information the same time the police officers get the information. We want to know exactly where officers are going, when they're going, and at that time. Not the way it works, and we need to make sure that people, and I think most people get that officers and detectives, we need to make sure we make a case on this. And so every time we get a piece of information, we're not going to put that out. Now, having said that, what's happening is with the detectives, they'll vet it, they'll work together, we'll work up around the police department, does this officer know anything? Let's talk with midnight shift officers. we have descriptions, we have cars, whatever it is. We'll do it internally to see what we can figure out. And then many times we'll put it out then and say, you know, does anybody else have information on this? And maybe we'll give a description of a car. We'll ask for, you've seen videos that we put out, say, can you help us identify this person? So we try to do that first ourselves, and then we put it out to the social media and to the public. But barring any, you know, immediate danger to the public's always it's gonna come second when we're gonna put it out as far as that information. Right now the detectives have a lot of information combing through it. There are witnesses that have, you know, of varying sorts. You know, a witness can be anything from a person who's standing right there and sees the entire thing to a person who hears something. So when I say witnesses, there's varying degrees of how much information they have. So they're combing through that. It happened again on Tuesday, and so we are actively investigating it. And you know, I think the track record with the gang unit and our detectives is very good. But these cases usually always we need some help, and somebody has to come forward and speak up, and so that's what they're working on right now.
You sparked a conversation that I saw on social media when you brought that up, and it's not something that we necessarily talked about before the show, and so I'm going to put you on the spot.
That's fine.
There's been a lot of talk with BB guns being brought to several of the Elgin schools, where they have been found and confiscated in the schools, you know, varying degrees of lockdown or secure in place or different things like that. And I know most of the Elgin middle and high schools have an Elgin resource officer, you know, police officer on property there. There's been a lot of heat about, you know, the fact of how, and it's not you, how, you know, the Elgin schools are communicating that. What is your role in all of that as a police department for the city of Elgin? Who takes precedent where, and does the school decide what if they want to arrest or don't arrest or things like that? How does that all work? You know, I was reading all this and going, you know, this is pretty interesting. I mean, you know, Jake just told me that something similar happened at Huntley High School just the other day. That a kid had a BB gun and the teachers had tackled him in the school. And so, you know, what happens?
Yeah, you know, I mean, depending on what's going on, you know, there's a lot of moving parts of this. Obviously, our
really
role,
are a lot. Yeah.
There are. Obviously, our role as a police department is the safety and security of the school. But that's not just our role. Obviously, the schools, that's their main role as well, in addition to the education. And it's you know, the police even get involved in education because we'll even go to them to driver ed classes or other classes and talk. So all of it's very commingled. But so safety is a big part of it, education. Not just in the school, but getting to the school, before school, after school. We've talked a lot about crossing the street and the traffic issues that happen. So there's a ton of moving parts with all of this. At the end of the day, we enforce laws and local ordinances. So somebody may break a law, and we would arrest them. And there's generally a conversation, depending on how severe of a crime it is, a conversation with school administration. I think looking around the room, we've all went through high school, and we've all seen fights.
They're just like last year.
Graduated.
Yeah. Hey, I made it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so at what point, and this is a discussion that we'll have with parents from time to time, that, you know, at what point does conduct in a school, should the person be arrested? And we all recognize that there is that line that that person needs to be arrested for things. So we handle that part. You know, there might be times where there's a fight, and depending how severe it is, school will take their action, and it doesn't necessarily mean the police are going to come in and make an arrest and now give someone a record for a shoving incident in the hall or knocking somebody's books out of their hands, you know, as they're walking down the hall. Or if you want to be very technical, that could be against the law. So do we want to go in there and start arresting for all this? So it's usually a discussion with the school administration and the school resource officer as far as how far things go. Now, things that are just clear-cut against the law and serious, you know, the officer doesn't need permission to make an arrest. That's up to the officer. But generally speaking, it's kind of, especially when dealing with juvenile law, you know, when you're dealing with adults, a lot of it's dealing with punishment. If you're dealing with juveniles, you want to try and correct behavior so that things don't happen again. So kind of that's the long answer. There's always these discussions. But then when things, as far as safety of the school and somebody bringing in a BB gun, we'll take our action as far as, you know, making an arrest. And sometimes, you know, they're just ordinance violations, you know, that you can't have an uncased BB gun in the city of Elgin off your personal property. So, you know, confiscate it, destroy it, and make that local arrest. But then the school also has a role, and they're the ones who deal with, you know, what the punishment is. Are people suspended? Are they expelled? When they notify parents? That's all U46. We have a great working relationship with them. But that's kind of where the where we both kind of diverge. We're on the enforcement side.
Part. They got to do their thing.
And they do theirs. In the middle, we do a lot of talking and discussing.
They seem to be the ones kind of taking most of the heat because it looks like there's been about 3 incidents in a little under a 2-week period where different BB guns have been in different schools.
And we don't need to go too far down the road of how real these BB guns look and how dangerous that can become, not just in school and kind of what it shows, and people are bringing in BB guns and people don't know real guns, how scary that can be, to when law enforcement arrives and somebody has a BB gun. I mean, there's been plenty of instances where people have been killed holding a BB gun pointing at an officer, and so it's BB guns. And I tell parents, I get it. BB guns are fun and they're cool. And when I was a kid, I never owned a BB gun. That might be kind of most kids have. I knew kids who did, but for whatever reason, I didn't have one. But they are fun and they're neat. But taking off your property and if you have a BB gun, it needs to be taken very seriously, because somebody just walking down the street now and the kid has it, and he's walking to his friend's house, and we've gotten calls with people walking with a long gun strapped over their shoulder. Now, many years ago, most people would look at that. Well, it's obviously going to be a toy gun. There's not going to be a 15-year-old walking on the street with
That's not the case anymore.
It's not the case anymore, and there are plenty of cases where 15-year-olds have had guns, and real guns, and long guns, and semi-automatic long guns. So it's something that we take seriously. So we'll get many calls, and officers show up, and they're not going to also walk up and assume that it's I'm sure this is a toy. I'm sure this kid's just going over to his friend's house to do some target practice in the backyard. Officers are going to show up, and their guns are going to be drawn. They're going to be pointed at a kid, and that's going to happen. And so it's the parents' responsibility to find out, are there even these toy guns in the school or in their home, and if they are, they better not be leaving the home, and making sure that they're not being brought to school. That's a big part of it.
We have a telephone call that we want to take for you. You can use these headphones so you can hear.
Yeah, if the volume is that blue light on.
All right, we're all good. I listen first.
All right,
we're on with Chief Swoboda. Go ahead, welcome.
Yeah, you give us a call, and we can come out and address it. If anybody, even on parking, why don't you call 847-289-2700. Yeah, it might be an issue of they might be legally parked, and so we need to put some no parking signs up, or if they are parked. And that you can call 311, and 311 can give you the answer as far as getting code enforcement out and check on any overcrowding issues. All right, have a good day.
Next thing I really wanted to talk about was we talked about those 3 incidents, and things happen in threes. I guess it's going to be. There were 3 fairly severe accidents over the last 9 or 10 days, I think, or not the last 9 or 10, but over a 9 or 10 day period. We had the motorcyclist, I think, that was struck the back of an SUV right up on Bose, and there was a car accident, and I think
Highland and Lyle.
Yep, and then there was also the gentleman riding a bicycle.
Yeah, a lot of our traffic divisions have been very busy with some very significant crashes. Again, the motorcycle one was the first, followed by a broad daylight one out on Highland Avenue, and where a woman died. And then just the same night as the homicide, we had someone riding their bicycle on the east side and crossed traffic, and a person driving down hit him, and he is still he's still alive. He's at the hospital in very critical condition, and so that's still being monitored. Family has been notified, but it is it's been busy, and it's just not taking any of these 3 or what was the cause of any of these 3 specifically, but it's just we're doing more enforcement with things like texting and driving, talking on the phone and driving, and it's feedback from the officer that make a stop. People kind of roll their eyes like, "Come on, give me a break!" Like with this,
I see it so much.
You can't not pull up to a stoplight and probably look next to you and see half the people doing it, and it'll take some time. Hopefully, we were talking Jeff Adam was talking about seatbelts and was looking back at how long it took for people to eventually accept seatbelts.
Yeah, how long?
And well, just in the 70s, 80s, the percentage of people wearing seatbelts, and then we do these seatbelt enforcement details, and by teaching kids young and growing up where there have been car seats and boosters, then they have to be buckled up even if mom and dad weren't. That hopefully as they grow up that they start wearing their seatbelts, and now we're up in the I think it's the mid 90% of the people actually wearing seatbelts during some of these checks. So hopefully the same will happen with phones and texting, because it's so dangerous. And there's a lot of people always say, well, how about the guys eating a ham sandwich as they're driving? You're right, too. That's stupid, too, and it looks bad. But I've done it as well, on a way to something where you grab a sandwich. There's a lot of things that we're all doing behind the wheels, and it's just really need to watch. Because it's not always just you. It's the person that pulls out right in front of you, or rides a bike right in front of you, or the kid on his way to school who's running because he's late for... And bad things happen far too often. So driving, 2,000-pound vehicle at 50, 40 miles an hour... man, it's just the eyes need to stay on the road, and I think we all just need to continue to recognize just how, we kind of just take driving now as it's just the way it is. That's what I do, but it is still something. It's a very serious action that we're all, in control of this 2,000-pound vehicle or more. So just making sure all of us slow down a little bit, look around, teach our kids as far as the texting and drive. It's one thing to do is not to your actions speak so your actions speak so loudly that I don't hear what you say. I love that one. That, you can tell me not to text and drive, Mom, but when you're texting on your way and you just say, well, I'm just doing, kids see that. So everybody just needs to make sure we take it on and take it responsibility.
City Council approved some vehicles. We'll get back to that. I think we're gonna table that until next week, and we'll talk about that. Okay. But I know you've got some police awards coming up, some promotions, and something about a scarecrow.
So, real quick, we did our officers of the quarter. And so
we're not talking about Thorin either with the scarecrow.
No. Tony Bryant. There's Officer Cam Jaron, Officer Engelkey, and Sergeant Santiago won our quarterly awards. Put it on Facebook, so congrats to all of them. Promotion next Friday. We are doing a promotion. Dennis Hood is retiring. Shout out to Rick Santiago. Thank you. Rick Santiago. I know Rick. Yeah, Rick. Everybody knows Rick. Good job, Rick. He's the hugger for those of you who are at the senior center. He's the one that hugs everybody. And next week we are having Bernie Bajak promoted to sergeant, so come on out. So it's a good thing. And then the final thing is, I guess it's a Scarecrow Fest down in St. Charles, and I don't normally do the personal shout-outs, but my wife has worked very hard on putting together a scarecrow for a gym that she's doing some personal training at.
Is it you?
It's not me.
It's not?
It is Rosie the Riveter.
Oh, okay.
So Rosie the Riveter from the...
World War II fame?
World War II fame, and about, the USA Proud and everybody coming together and helping out.
So women involved in the war effort.
Exactly.
And taking and helping.
Did so much. So I know her mom and dad helped as well with it, and Nilsa, the owner of the gym, also helped. So they all came together about personal fitness.
Cool, though.
No. But you go down there, so it's a vote thing. And if you vote, you win. So if you do Rosie the Riveter down in St. Charles this weekend...
Can you vote online
I know my wife Laura would be... I don't think so. I think you're going to actually have to get out and go down.
Get down there.
It's going to be a nice fall weekend. Sounds like it's going to be a nice fest as well. So Rosie the Riveter... It would be appreciated. Anybody that could vote.
Congratulations to all the award winners and the promotion, and good luck to Laura on her scarecrow.
All righty. Thanks. Everybody have a fantastic weekend.
Yep, you too. Thanks, Jeff.
Sure.
You're listening to AM 1410, WRMN.
And Elgin.